Yo, coming at you out of the zone. What do they call that? The comfort, the discomfort, the weird, the cyberpunk, the guru. The symbol that I'm wearing is basically masculine, feminine combined in one. That means, in a shamanic way, the balanced thing between your feminine side and your masculine side within your system. What does that mean? That is not an easy topic, and I give it to you. How do you want it? As best as I can. I move a little bit. Camera shakes a little bit. You'll see maybe a little weird stuff going on. It's supposed to be trippy. This video is about friendship and having friends and having good friends, and what the experience is with criticism, how we work with people, liking, disliking, all of this good stuff that makes the clock tick of dualism. There is a reference of a race that's called the Asasani, which is a mixture of a human body and a gray body, and they actually have beautiful faces. They have kind of like Buddhistic faces. They're not that tall. I mean, at least the ones that I have encountered are not tall beings. They're more I don't know, 4 foot, and they smile. And the reason why these Asasani were developed, as in the hybrid program in outer space, not just from Earth to space, but in space also, they have a pristine consciousness. Okay, so that has to do with our past. We're healing interdimensional cell memories of past lives on other planets, meaning galactic heritage, which I do readings also, like see what race memory are you healing. Are you Vegan? Are you Syrian? Are you Arcturian? Are you Zeta? Are you Asasani? Are you in contact with those? Are you Lyran? You know, and are you Andromedan? I mean, it goes further out. These are just the commercial planetary systems. So this movie is about, how do you say, friendship, you know, what it means to be a good friend and how we heal our race memory. So one of the things I wanted to mention is what we're healing here in dualism is the Zeta Reticuli system, okay? The storyline, and for those who think that this is all too out there, then see it as a psychological metaphor for you to understand self and the vastness of your spirit. So the Zetas had developed a futuristic type doll body where they outbred the emotional sector of the body because they said it's not efficient. Okay, side note, check the Vulcans, how they've mastered the emotional body, especially Spock as in being half human, again hybrid, it always comes back, and becoming superior in spirituality, and the conflict of being locked in that and not admitting that you have an emotional body. And the balance here is, this is representing the balance, that you, a balanced emotional body is that you can trust the world with trust. You can step into the world. And also relating to the open relationship video that I just did, the upgrade status is, some people are triggered or are intrigued. Does that even work? Is that dating? Is that being together? Is that being married? And you have to understand, what we do is we conceptualize everything we do to create safety, and that is an illusion. Because if your partner or your friend or your best friend does not fulfill the level of expectation that you're having, then trouble in paradise. You have dualism. It's not how you want it to be. But here's the deal. That is nature. It's never how you want it to be. You can only do your part as a friend to perform and assist in peace, constructive, not taking people apart, being nice, not, and I have to tell you, not steal from one another, not lie with petty stuff from one another. It doesn't mean you have to reveal yourself to the world with every little thing that you think your sacred temple is, that's your divine power. You don't have to even reveal yourself out of fear. So that means you do not have to run to Burning Man and get naked because you think that makes you down. You don't have to put on a robe and go namaste and you don't really mean it just to be down, or dress like a rapper and run around like, yo dudes, you know what I'm saying? You never seen a stage, you never seen a mic just to be down. That my dear star seeds and other beings, all creeds, classes, likes, sexual genders. I don't care. I'm talking to all. I'm a universal being. I'm omniversal, you know. So basically, explaining that the Essassani race represent the, how do you say, genetically rebred, reinserted emotional body into the higher form. And then explore that in realizing when the polarity is gone and you have the ability to respond without dualism, without saying good or bad or this or that, saying interesting perspective. I'm observing, I am learning, I am processing. And yes, it is not easy, I can tell you that. We have to all process our fears in the level of friendships that we keep. Like, can we be honest on that level? Can we share this? Certain things we feel insecure to share because then we think we feel judged. That has to do with cell memory, because you always were judged for what we did, what we propagated, from the metaphysical level to if it's the farmer's neighbor that helped with, milking the cows. No, that's no metaphor for anything. I'm just saying help in general. Or I'm getting the ladder to climb somebody's roof to fix the chimney, and the other neighbor has a problem with that, And then you have a harmonious, intermingling of energy, and there's a third party that hates that. And that is the resisting program of, and again, I use metaphors for those who know the real story, cool. For others that feel energies, cool. For those who don't believe anything, I can help it. I'm not here to convince people. I'm not here to, drop a dogma or say this is how it is. It's like this. There is a dilemma with cells resisting, meaning when your body awakens, and if you watch the movie Lucy, it explains there, you have the pain body. The pain body is the one that hates a video. That the pain body is the one that is triggered, that doesn't like to hear the information, or doesn't want to live the, experience in levels of having to even to relate to people. That has to do with where's your alpha brainwave state, where's your beta, where's your delta, where's your gamma, and then you have super beta. I will do a video at some point explaining the different brain waves. Actually, also scientific fact at that note is when you come to Sedona, holy place, and you go into the rocks, your brain gets basically an emotional reset. You purge everything that needs to be out, and your brain waves are being balanced. A good friend of mine, a scientist who brought a machine called, I think, Mindwave to measure the brain states when sitting in a so-called vortex. Magnetically, what's the influence on the brain? So some people are disoriented, but they get better. They come out, they have an emotional release, they heal, and that's why people come here. So there's always a possibility to change your perspective. So we, on our friendship level, have to understand if we live in distorted communities, or distorted households, or dysfunctional environments, which the big cities are, there's no excuse. I mean, look at the water situation you have, where the water disappears and there's no reserves, and you have a year to really think about where do I get my water from. Think about, when nature retreats, what does that tell you? What happens to people when people have to actually follow nature, when you have to actually go where the water is? Then you have to, whether you want to or not, because nature says what goes. We don't say what goes. So same thing is, as they say, that's how the river runs it. You feel within yourself, personally, how you're relating to yourself. That is how you're relating to your friends. And a best friend, I realize that also in this topic over relationship. Can you, let's say you have a friend, again, that's a concept, your best friend, and you watch him having one fling after another. You're the best friend. You're not in a relationship, okay? It could be a guy watches a girl, or a girl watches a guy. This is just the extreme, so you have to understand the polarity of the gender. And they explain their adventures. You have nothing intimate with them because you haven't gone there yet, and so there's nothing to conceptualize or attach to that. And that's the old program and the old paradigm. The minute you go intimate and romanticize idealistic ideas that are unshared and expectation levels that are unfulfilled, that means you're in your mind. It's not telepathic. It's actually more mentalized, left brain hemisphere. We're all human. I'm not judging you. So that's what we do naturally. And then we think, okay, that's safe. And if somebody is fulfilled, that's safe. It gets uncomfortable, and I believe that's where the development of the expansion of your consciousness begins, when you step out and say, okay, shall we try this? As friends, and share everything, and you go, man, wow, you're living all of this, and this is what you've been through, and that's how you're living, wow, and you are the best friend. Like, hey, I can always come to you, I can always talk to you, you sit with me, you listen, you don't argue. If I need an advice, you assist, you give me the advice. You serve unconditional, anything I need. Not that you have to run from me, but you completely see me in that spell. And I'm saying that's the future relationship. However you're relating to one another, whether that's tantric or bodily or from a distance, these are all permission slips conceptualizing your safety. And when you say, I will go on that cliff, it's 50 foot, and I don't know, but I know there's water and there's depth as an emotional body. I'll make that jump. I land, and I trust in that. And you trust your intuition. And you get out of fear. That also has to do with, if you step into an uncomfortable situation, how many thoughts of fear come at you, and how many positive affirmations come at you in your head? That's where the balance begins. That's where the balance tells you, am I a pessimist or am I an optimist? Am I, watch the pattern, am I on websites that I constantly have to diss and bitch and bicker and have something to say because I have a problem? Or can I neutrally be the observer and watch the scenario taking place before me? And yes, there are responsibilities and things in life when you create certain situations. But can you be sovereign and not say, this is this because in my experience isn't this? See, we evaluate very quick with an egoic filter and mind state things that are good or bad according to our experience. That is not reality. That is just your experience. So let's say if I had made experience, and that's just a metaphor, I'm not saying that happened to me, so don't assume. I mean, if you want to know, ask. I will do an open hangout where I'll openly answer questions directly. Is let's say you had bad experiences with people in general, and then you're programmed, when this pattern happens, then I have to, bring up my defense, step into my defense and say, hey, this and this and this and this, and you're pissing me off and blah blah blah, and friendship breaks up because of a programmed pattern that lies within you. And sometimes even your subconscious sets itself up for that, because you want to create that drama so your pain body can validate, see, I told you can't trust that dude. I told you can't trust that girl. And there you go again. You're setting yourself up for the same situation where you're attracting people, you give love or you have attraction, they don't give that back to you. You have to go back to yourself and say, maybe you shouldn't chase, maybe you shouldn't ask. I say ask, I'm Aquarian. If you have a question, ask. If you get rejected, process rejection. Greatest thing for me when I was like from 11 to 16, when I had interest in girls and they would reject me, oh my God, it ripped me to shreds. For weeks I couldn't eat. I lost a little bit of weight, and it's not like, oh, victims. Like I produced this overproduced, over-romanticized, super elusive drama where the world doesn't love me because the one that I love I can't find. And then I got over it. Yes, and I learned in my rap days, being on stage, that if you have confidence, you don't have to seek. People can smell confidence. People know, are you convicted? And are you committed to self? Don't be like you have to commit to something that you don't know where it goes. Yeah, you can be committed to your boat going down a river, but when your boat breaks, you swim. stay in the center and get out. So there are modalities that you have to think about, that you have to handle when things in your life change. And the only person that is there for you is you. And that has to do with how am I loving myself? Self-love. Be committed to yourself and you loving yourself in the ways that you do. And with your friends or your best friends, you don't have to be shy or hidden or thinking you're bad or in any way for things that you do. If you have sacred trustees in a relationship, or friends, or sacred friendship, or sacred relationship, or whatever you want to call it, it even almost defeats the purpose saying what it is, because the minute I give it a label, somebody can dualistically come at it and say, well, this is this. And here's the thing, what we're going through in life is never this or that. It is actually a constant change, a wave. And that brings me to the energy patterns that we have now that I wanted to share. It's like since 2012, people were talking about Nibiru coming back, which will never happen in my opinion, in my research and even my psychic scanning. I don't see any Planet X coming and some weird stuff. Earth is expanding. The only thing that's remnant is the fears that people have of future projections that were embedded in cell memory or through television, telling lies and vision, or false memory implants, or watching the wrong news channel. You have to be very precise these days. What are you eating? How does that resonate? When is that appropriate to do what? It's all about resonance. So since 2012, we have a completely new wave of existence, okay? The old time waves that we went through collapsed, broke down, you know what I mean? And you no longer have access to the karmic patterns of drama that you used to. Unconsciously, everybody did that. Oh, this happened to me, oh, boom. Now, no more. You don't have to be sick. It doesn't have to necessarily be hospital. It has to be conscious, healing the body, healing the self, and being about knowing who you are. So you can never put yourself in a constant saying, I am this, I am that. No, I am. And just like Vision said when he was born in the, what's it called, The Rise of Ultron, the Avenger movie, I suggest you watch that. It's a metaphor of an old paradigm that thinks it has to wipe out the world in order to cleanse the world, and it's mechanical. And another being that's called Vision that has different inputs to become a life force or a consciousness. And the first time this being Vision was born, jumped out of the coffin, and they said, who are you? And he looked around and he was like, and he looked in a reflective surface, and he said, I am. And that's all there is. Names come and go. You've probably been here thousands of lifetimes. Crazy memory banks. But at the end of the day, you are. You are. Now, if a hater wants to say, well, you're this or you're that, you know how you can take the power from that? If you take the memory from the hater, it's just a metaphor. Having even seen that, what bothers him, he has nothing to talk about. It's all based on memory. If you describe a box, I'm giving you an oxymoron or a non sequitur. Describe a box that has no value, no height, no depth, no filling, no form, and doesn't even fit the description box. Where can your mind go with what I'm describing? That's how you lose dualism and people throwing stuff at you. You do not exist there anymore. And for that experience and these energies and these timelines we're in right now, I have a storyline that I read in a comic book, but I remembered that segment in particular where it's actually two storylines. So one is there's a guy who practices the art of conscious awareness touch. It's a kung fu style when you at a high level, you touch somebody and they receive awareness. One of the highest forms of Kung Fu is that, with touch or non-touch. Very ancient technique. I don't even know if there's anyone on the planet that can do that. So we're in slow motion, we're talking awareness to get the awareness going. Now, I think it's called Yogitsu, and you won't find anything if you Google it, because it was in a comic book and it was a channeled idea, I believe. So here's the arena, battle arena. There's this gladiator, half cyborg, who kills and, you know, has been undefeated. And there is this superhero, I think it's called Gods of the Chalk. It's all based on the Mayan calendar. He turns the gods into superheroes. It's a rare book, very rare edition. Awesome book, by the way. Anyway, and there's one master, blue skin, golden hair, sits there, levitates over water, holds his finger up, you know, and is in another realm while he does that, to practice. Then he's called to battle. And this big gladiator, who's like, I don't know, 12, 13 feet tall, wants to rip that dude. And when you look at the picture, you're thinking, okay, you're done for. So here's what happens, and I find that amazing to solve that. The dude levitates up, touches the guy on the forehead. Dude turns into an infant, is teleported to paradise. You know, shakes, cries. All the darkness gets purged out of that. All the mechanics, you know, it's like, it's not going to help you to win anything. Can you beat yourself? And the guy is in paradise mentally with that little boy, holds the little infant, says, it's okay. It is okay. And the little boy looks at him and says, I just want to go home. All I want is to go home. I don't want anything else. Seeking peace. And he leaves that scene. Back in the arena, the gladiator is on the ground, and the dude looks at him, walks away, and the gladiator is finished. The battle is finished. He's crying, he's on the floor. He realizes now, with self-awareness, who he is, and the battle is over. And that's how I see ourselves ascending and stepping into the new energy. When Earth gets into the energy patterns where in self-awareness we understand who we are in love with those that are around us, the battles are over. The wars are over. You don't have to be aggressive. Nobody forces you to be aggressive. Nobody tells you to use a gun. I don't care what fraction you're working for. Ask yourself every day when you get up, what are you doing with positive in the world that you can enchant somebody, make somebody smile, and not utilize that. If you're in a critical area, maybe don't go by a corner that's raided by individuals that always give people trouble if they, I don't know, look suspicious or whatnot, you know. Maybe walk more peaceful aisles or peaceful streets, or move into peaceful sections to say, I don't even want to, and I pray for all the victims throughout all thousands of years and lifetimes lost in the war and the battle for freedom. Be safe. Don't even go to demonstrations and make yourself a target, because if you engage the draconian system, it loves to engage when you cross their line. They have no power. They can only wait for you to be where they can reach you. And we have to stop making ourselves victims by giving that the power and saying, you know, I'm vulnerable here and I'm revealing that. No, have your own space and your own place and your own peace of mind and do peaceful things. And yes, investigate, be alert, record everything. Everybody's recording everything. William S. Burroughs said that, Doors of Brave New World, where the media is so transparent that nothing gets hidden, everything is being revealed. And karmically, we have to clear it up. Like, don't take energy from people, you know, or be hurtful to people. Like, don't be violent, be in love. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with having a secret crush on somebody, and you keep that for yourself. You don't want to share that, that's okay. So, second story, gladiator in the arena, has to fight. He's used to fights and winning fights every day, all day. A little 5-foot wizard shows up. Purple robe, silver wand, has a golden third eye. The gladiator's like, "You're a joke. Doing this. You're nothing. I'll crush you, imbecile." And the little wizard goes like,
Interesting. And you believe that?
and the gladiator goes like, what can you do? I'm invincible. And then he goes with his wand. A silver ray goes to the forehead of the gladiator and wipes the memory of the battles, and the wizard disappears. And the gladiator is in the arena. Where am I? What am I doing here? I have no idea who I am. And he leaves him like that. And this is when the journey of the one who has to be healed begins. And I find it interesting. So yes, I'm voting for superpowers. By the way, I'm reading a book that's called China's Super Psychics. There are superpowers. It is real, but it's very tough to attain. You need to be in a brain state and a mind state of a purity level where this manifestation or particularization from your third eye, which is a particle beam actually, really takes physical effect on the weather, on life, people walking towards you. I call it the Jesus effect or the holy being or Buddha effect. Is like when you carry love in your heart and you create a loving field. I call it the phase conjugation. It's where the dualism, as in the negative energy and the positive energy, meet in the center, create this space. This is the zero field. This is who we are. This is what we will invent out of ourselves. There's nothing outside of ourselves. Everything is within. So you meditate, you go within, you stop the cross chariot, you go deep, 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 deep inside. And then you see yourself clearly, in peace. And then you heal. And then you can allow. And I have to learn every day. Even from those who watch the videos and leave comments, I gotta like, And even if comments are very destructive that I don't approve because I only believe in constructive criticism, like say, if you want to teach somebody that's 6 years old and he's not doing, in your eyes, such a great job chopping wood, you don't go there and go, "You're doing it all wrong. Give me the axe. This is how you chop wood." And you scream at the 6-year-old. You understand? The 6-year-old will be scared. So how do we teach? We teach in peace. Okay? So you go to the 6-year-old, or whatever young age it's called. We call it a very young age. This is a very, very, how do you say, sensitive being of consciousness that's learning right now. So you say, is it good for you? Does it work for you? It's better if the young one asks, and you can say, okay, I can show you something. You use it this way, and chop, and chop. Does that work better for you? And when he smiles, says, yeah, that's kind of cool. You've advanced. You have relayed a message and looked at the receptivity of that, what needs to be taught, and integrate it. You don't force it. So with that, I thank my viewers so much for taking their time and reflecting on what's being said, because all the videos here is we're leaning ourselves way out the window. I mean, I put, I don't know, a Star Trek uniform on or an astronaut just to make a point visually. It's about the information, and I'm doing the visuals so people go through the first filter. And if those that think that I'm crazy, they go to the surface. You think because of what I'm wearing or the way I look, you could say this is this. The ego is right in there, then in there caught. If you break through that, that's why I do this. And you go through the craziness and you approach it and you listen to the story and you listen to the intricacy at the intelligent level as I'm relaying the message. You know that I am serious, dedicated to the cause of getting the consciousness in gear that this can run infinite and we no longer have to talk. And telepathy which also will be taught at some point, lies in feeling and the capacity to see things for what they are. It has to do with your third eye. Not lying to yourself about certain realities is look at certain realities as they are. Then you begin to see, then you see images, then images come in that you can train. So harnessing the power of the self sometimes means to get out of the loop, get away from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, from the digital world. There's like, do it in moderations. There's times to step in and there's times to step out. Like you bathe in experience, but you don't bathe in extremes because, well, it can cost you energy. So the healing modality of that which you long for in your life is I am that what I am, nothing more or less, forever unfolding. So maybe in 2 years I have a completely different storyline on what friendship is, because it's forever unfolding. And if that can be done in peace, in a peaceful and harmonious way, and even I have to process cell memory fears where I'm like, oh, this feels weird, then I share it with my partner and say, well, this is what I'm feeling right now. And my partner reflects. Then I go, oh, okay, now I see. I integrate and I heal. It's like we don't flip out. We don't get into weaponry. Like I have a, how do you say, underlying self-defense. Like a guardian warrior comes in and if I feel attacked, I'm like, what are you saying? And I'm like, calmate, calmate. Calm it down a bit, okay? Talk makes sense. And then you combine the energy of the universe and you see that you're the infinite spirit that is forever expanding like the lotus on the surface of the lake. But the root goes very deep, more deep, if you catch my drift. To be is to do. To do is to be. Make it a song. Doobie 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 doo. Have fun. Enjoy life. Be a little bit crazy, you know? Get out of the box. And that's why I'm here. To get out of the box. This is your crazy cybernaut, conscious explorer Arcturus Ra.